Sometimes I like to sit quietly in the early morning before the world wakes up and just notice the stillness around me. There's a soft pause between the hum of the night and the stirrings of the day, and in that pause, you can almost hear your own heart breathing. Maybe you've felt that too, a quiet longing inside, a sense that life is waiting for something you can't quite name. It's in those moments that God's gentle presence often feels nearest, even when nothing seems to be happening outwardly. Life has a way of moving around us so fast that we miss the small, sacred signs. A smile from a stranger, a memory that rises unexpectedly, a song that drifts into your thoughts at just the right time. These are the whispers of grace. They remind us that even when we feel unseen or unheard, we are held. Psalm 139 tells us that we are known in our most hidden places, even before we speak a word or take a step. That kind of knowing is not about scrutiny, it's about care. It's the divine attention that walks with you through your fears, your waiting, your questions. I want to speak today about the moments in our lives when everything seems quiet, but deep beneath, change is quietly moving. It's not always visible, and it's rarely dramatic in the way we imagine. Sometimes the shifts happen in the heart first, in small realizations, in quiet courage, in the patience to stay soft while the world pushes us to harden. Your soulmate's life, like yours, is full of these small, invisible changes. And just because you cannot see the moment yet, doesn't mean God isn't at work. I know the heart often grows restless with waiting. It wonders, why is this taking so long? Why does it feel like nothing is happening? But the scripture reminds us that timing belongs to God. Ecclesiastes reflects on seasons, a time to sow, a time to wait, a time to harvest. And I believe deeply that these seasons are meant to prepare us, not punish us. They are not emptiness, they are shaping us into the people we are meant to be, patient, compassionate, and aware of what truly matters. Think for a moment about the patience required for a seed to become a tree. The seed doesn't demand sunlight or rain, it just rests in the soil, opening quietly to the possibility of life. And when the right conditions arrive, it begins to grow with a strength it never knew it had. Our lives, our hearts, our relationships often unfold in the same way. Even your soulmate, even the person who will one day walk into your life in a way that feels sacred, is in the midst of their own quiet preparation. There is freedom in trusting that preparation. You are not less because someone else's journey is still unfolding. You are not incomplete because the world has not yet delivered the story you imagined. Romans reminds us that hope does not put us to shame because God's love is poured into our hearts. Even when the world whispers doubt, even when impatience presses on your chest, that love is a steady, invisible current, guiding both you and those you care for toward wholeness. Sometimes we get caught thinking that we must rush life along. We check, we question, we worry. But faith, real faith, is not a hammer. It is a soft hand holding yours in the dark. It says, I am here, I am present, I am moving even when you cannot see it. And in those moments when you are tempted to despair, there is a grace in simply breathing and noticing that you are still alive, that your heart still hopes, that your soul still longs for goodness. Now, let's talk about joy, because it is often the overlooked companion in waiting. Joy does not always arrive in full, triumphant waves. Sometimes it is a quiet, steady warmth, a small peace that rises when you pray, when you forgive, when you offer kindness to someone who cannot repay it. These small sparks of joy are like embers, keeping faith alive in the waiting. And sometimes, unexpectedly, joy finds its way to us through another person, through the very one we have been praying for, loving from afar, and hoping to connect with. Your soulmate's life, just like yours, is filled with these quiet sparks. Perhaps they are discovering a strength they didn't know they had. Perhaps they are learning to forgive themselves for mistakes they carried for too long. Perhaps they are realizing their own worth in a way that will make them ready to love fully, deeply, without fear. And these shifts, small as they seem now, will ripple outward, touching you in ways that are gentle yet profound. It's easy to forget that every human being is on a journey of transformation. We want things fast, immediate, and certain, but God's work is always gradual, patient, like a river carving its path through stone. We are not passive in this waiting. Our hearts are learning, growing, softening, becoming like the people God designed us to be, patient, compassionate, and aware of what truly matters. Think for a moment about the patience required for a seed to become a tree. The seed doesn't demand sunlight or rain, it just rests in the soil, opening quietly to the possibility of life. And when the right conditions arrive, it begins to grow with a strength it never knew it had. Our lives, our hearts, our relationships often unfold in the same way. Even your soulmate, even the person who will one day walk into your life in a way that feels sacred, is in the midst of their own quiet preparation. There is freedom in trusting that preparation. You are not less because someone else's journey is still unfolding. You are not incomplete because the world has not yet delivered the story you imagined. Romans reminds us that hope does not put us to shame because God's love is poured into our hearts. Even when the world whispers doubt, even when impatience presses on your chest, that love is a steady, invisible current, guiding both you and those you care for toward wholeness.
There will be moments when doubt creeps in. When that happens, return to quiet reflection, prayer, or journaling. Notice what stirs your heart, what lessons are emerging, what patterns of growth you may have overlooked. God's word encourages us to meditate day and night on what is true, noble, just, and pure. This meditation strengthens your spirit and aligns your heart with the divine rhythm, which is preparing not only your life, but also your soulmate's life. Let us consider gratitude for a moment. Gratitude is not about ignoring struggle or pretending life is perfect. It is about acknowledging the sacredness that exists even amidst difficulty. Gratitude trains the heart to notice the hidden beauty of preparation, the small miracles of everyday life, and the gentle unfolding of love. When we are grateful, we create space for joy, for hope, and for a connection that arrives when it is meant to arrive. And so, as you sit with these reflections, know this: the journey you are on is sacred. Your heart is being trained. Your spirit is being strengthened, and your soul is being prepared. The person who will one day walk beside you is doing the same. There is no rush, no need for force, no requirement for perfect timing. Everything unfolds according to divine wisdom, and each step along the way carries meaning beyond what you can see. Your life, your waiting, your growth, they are not wasted. They are not empty. They are sacred preparation for love that is both resilient and gentle, grounded and freeing, deep and life-affirming. And when that meeting occurs, it will not feel rushed or artificial. It will feel like the culmination of 1,000 quiet lessons, 1,000 acts of faith, 1,000 moments of grace. Pause for a moment and breathe in that truth. Let it settle in your heart. Even if you cannot see the full picture yet, trust that the pieces are moving into place. Even if your heart feels heavy, trust that God's love is carrying you, shaping you, preparing you for what is to come. And know that this preparation is not a punishment. It is a gift, a sacred opportunity to grow, to heal, and to learn the kind of love that transforms lives. As we move toward the close of this reflection, I want to speak about trust, the kind of trust that does not rely on immediate evidence or visible signs, but rests quietly in the knowledge that God is at work. Trust is not passive. It is an active surrender, a choice to release the urge to control every detail and to allow life, love, and divine timing to unfold naturally. When you cultivate trust, your heart becomes a safe place for patience, peace, and clarity. It is in this state that you can fully embrace the growth happening in your own life and in the life of the one whose journey will eventually intersect with yours. There is an incredible beauty in learning to see life as a tapestry rather than a straight line. Every experience, every trial, every moment of joy or discomfort contributes a thread to the larger design. Some threads shine brightly, others are subtle, almost invisible at first. But together they create a pattern that is unique, meaningful, and guided by divine intention. Your waiting, your reflections, your quiet acts of love, they are all threads weaving into this sacred tapestry. You may not always understand why certain moments come, or why some lessons feel hard. But even in the moments of confusion, there is growth. Even in the silence, there is movement. Even in the distance, there is connection being prepared. The one who will share your heart is being shaped by these same forces, experiencing the growth that will allow them to meet you fully, whole, open, and ready to love deeply. Sometimes, the most profound spiritual lessons come in the simplest forms. A smile offered without expectation, a word spoken with honesty, a quiet acknowledgement of your own worth. These are practices of faith, expressions of hope, and acts of grace that prepare you to receive love not out of need, but out of fullness. And while we reflect on these truths, let us not forget the power of gratitude. Gratitude transforms waiting into presence. It turns uncertainty into awareness. It allows your heart to recognize the hidden beauty in preparation, in patience, and in the quiet work of the Spirit. As you cultivate gratitude, you align your perspective with divine wisdom, seeing life not as a series of gaps or delays, but as a rich, unfolding journey filled with lessons, growth, and subtle blessings. P. Consider how the Scripture often emphasizes hope as a sustaining force. Romans reminds us that hope does not disappoint, because God's love is poured into our hearts. Even when circumstances are unclear, even when the timing seems mysterious, this love is steady and unwavering. It is this love that guides both you and your soulmate, shaping hearts, teaching lessons, and preparing the space for connection. I want to pause here and invite you to reflect quietly. Breathe in slowly and notice the strength that has carried you this far. Acknowledge the growth you have achieved, the challenges you have faced, and the wisdom you have gained. Even before a meeting occurs, your life has been rich, meaningful, and sacred. Every act of patience, every moment of reflection, every choice to trust and love, these are already forming the foundation of the love that awaits you. Faith, patience, and self-worth are inseparable in this journey. They create a readiness that is invisible, but tangible in its effects. The kind of love that lasts is not hurried. It is deliberate, mature, and grounded in understanding. By nurturing these qualities within yourself, you are preparing to meet another soul, not in longing, but in completeness. A love that is generous, stable, and transformative. Even when doubt creeps in, even when uncertainty clouds your vision, return to what you know to be true. God is present. God is moving. You are loved. You are seen. You are prepared. The journey of your heart and the journey of your soulmate are moving in quiet synchrony. Every step, every moment of learning, every act of courage or compassion brings you closer to the fullness of a meeting that will feel divinely timed and deeply meaningful. It is also essential to remember that love is not about possession, control, or forcing outcomes. True love is freedom. It allows both hearts to grow, to heal, and to arrive fully in themselves. When we seek to control the timing or the way love enters our lives, we often miss the subtle beauty of divine orchestration. But when we surrender to that wisdom, our hearts remain open, receptive, and ready to embrace connection in its most authentic form. And so I encourage you to continue walking your path with awareness and faith. Notice the ordinary miracles, a kind word, a quiet moment of reflection, a gesture of compassion. These are the whispers of grace, the gentle nudges of divine presence, guiding both you and your soulmate toward readiness. They remind you that your life is sacred, your heart is prepared, and your journey is meaningful, even in moments that feel slow or uncertain. Let hope continue to rise within you. Hope is not the absence of waiting, but the trust that waiting is itself a sacred process. Hope allows you to see life with a heart that is patient, kind, and open, and when your paths finally meet, it will feel not like a surprise in the chaotic sense, but like a natural unfolding. A moment where all the quiet preparation, all the growth, and all the acts of faith converge into a sacred alignment. As we close, I want to leave you with a gentle reminder. You are worthy of love. You are whole. You are seen, valued, and deeply known by God. And in this truth, there is peace. There is confidence. There is a quiet joy that cannot be shaken by circumstance, timing, or uncertainty. Remember to nurture your heart in the present. Practice gratitude for your journey. Trust in the divine rhythm of life. Continue to grow, heal, and open yourself to love in all its fullness. And when the day comes that your paths cross with your soulmate, you will meet not out of need, but out of wholeness, kindness, and enduring faith. If this reflection has spoken to your heart, I invite you to share a kind word in the comments, or pass this message on to someone who may need to hear it today. And if you wish to continue exploring sacred reflections and gentle guidance, subscribing to Sacred Path to Divine Light can be a quiet way to stay connected without pressure. Take a deep breath, feel the strength in your heart, and know that every step of your journey is meaningful, sacred, and guided. Your life is a testimony of faith, patience, and quiet courage, and love, in its truest and most beautiful form, is moving steadily toward you in its perfect, divine timing. Walk gently, live with hope, and trust in the unseen currents of grace that guide you and your soulmate every day. And may your heart remain open, your spirit strong, and your journey filled with light, peace, and gratitude. Sometimes, life feels like a quiet waiting room. You sit in stillness, wondering when the next door will open, when the change you've been hoping for will arrive. And yet, even in that waiting, there is movement you cannot see. God is shaping moments, hearts, and paths in ways that are invisible, patient, and precise. Your heart is learning resilience in these quiet hours. You are discovering how to hold your joy gently, how to guard your peace without fear, how to trust your own capacity to love fully. These lessons are subtle, often unnoticed, yet they are the foundations of every meaningful connection you will ever have. Sometimes, your soulmate is closer than you think, yet still on their own journey. They are walking paths that test them, refine them, and teach them the depth of their own heart. Perhaps they are learning patience, perhaps courage, perhaps self-worth. And all of this is happening not to keep you apart, but to make the eventual meeting a place of true alignment, where two whole souls can meet, without expectation, only presence. I want you to reflect on the nature of preparation. Preparation is not waiting in vain. It is the quiet work of becoming the person God intends you to be. Every challenge you face, every time you choose kindness, forgiveness, or grace, you are being shaped. Every moment your soulmate experiences the same is shaping them. The lives that will meet are being readied separately, so that when they converge, the encounter feels natural, profound, and sacred. There is beauty in noticing the small miracles around you. A bird singing in the morning, the laughter of a child, the comfort of a cup of tea in a quiet room. These are reminders that life is unfolding gently, that divine care is present in the smallest details. Do not overlook these whispers. They are teaching you to recognize sacredness, patience, and subtle joy. Faith is not a demand.
It is a quiet companion. It walks beside you, even when you cannot see the path ahead. It reminds you that you are loved, seen, and cherished. It reminds you that timing is in God's hands, and that the right person will appear not in chaos or pressure, but in alignment with the growth and wisdom you both are cultivating. Even doubt has a role. Doubt encourages reflection, discernment, and depth. It teaches you to pause, to question, and to seek clarity. When paired with faith, doubt becomes a tool of refinement rather than fear. It allows you to approach love with a heart that is open, intentional, and aware of its own value. Sometimes your own growth is the greatest gift you can offer. When you cultivate patience, self-respect, and quiet joy, you create a heart that is prepared for connection. When your soulmate does the same, the meeting is not just a union of two people, but a confluence of two journeys that have been carefully guided by grace. Consider the metaphor of the sunrise. It does not arrive at our command, yet it always comes. Its light transforms the world gradually, yet completely. Our lives, our hearts, and our relationships unfold in a similar way, in divine rhythm, not human haste. And when the moment comes, the encounter feels like natural illumination, a warm revelation of all the quiet preparation that preceded it. Healing is another quiet teacher. It asks for patience, reflection, and gentleness. Healing reminds us that love is not just about receiving. It is about embracing wholeness within ourselves first. Your soulmate is healing too. They may not yet be ready in ways you can see, but the work they are doing within themselves is a sacred foundation for the love that will one day meet you in grace. Even ordinary days carry extraordinary lessons. A kind word, a moment of honesty, an act of service. These small acts are shaping your heart, teaching compassion, and cultivating the awareness that love is not hurried or forced. Notice them, cherish them, and trust that they are part of your preparation. Patience is not passive. It is a practice of faith. It allows you to rest in the present, appreciate the unfolding, and trust the process of divine timing. Ecclesiastes reminds us that there is a time for every purpose under heaven. Your waiting, your reflections, and your quiet acts of love are part of that sacred season.